The feud between Kyle Richards and Dorit Kemsley didn't explode overnight, and that's exactly why it's so compelling. On the surface, it looks like typical reality TV drama: tense dinners, sharp exchanges, and emotional reunions. But underneath all of that is something much deeper, a quiet breakdown of trust that had been building for years. And the truth is, most viewers didn't realize when the real damage actually began. At one point, their friendship seemed solid. Kyle Richards and Dorit Kemsley weren't just castmates, they were genuinely close. They vacationed together, spent time with their families, and consistently supported each other in group conflicts. In a show where alliances constantly shift, they appeared stable. But like many friendships on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, theirs depended on unspoken rules: protect each other publicly, stay loyal in group settings, and never expose what happens privately. The problem was, those rules only work when both people follow them the same way, and Kyle and Dorit didn't. The turning point came from something that seemed small: a private text message. Before a reunion, Kyle sent Dorit a long, emotional message after they had already been drifting apart. In that message, Kyle admitted she had been trying to reach out because it bothered her that they were in a weird place. She acknowledged that Dorit's interview comments had hurt her feelings, but also said she understood Dorit didn't fully know what she was going through in her personal life at the time. Then came the part that changed everything. Kyle told Dorit that their issues didn't need to be brought up at the reunion. She wrote that, "They don't even know we are going through a hard time," and said she didn't see the need to discuss it publicly. She emphasized that their relationship was more important than the show and expressed that she didn't want to lose another important person in her life over reality TV. On the surface, the message sounded emotional, even vulnerable. But when Dorit later revealed it on camera, she interpreted it very differently. To her, it wasn't just a heartfelt message, it was manipulative and calculated, an attempt to control what she would say at the reunion. And that's where everything shifted. Because the message itself wasn't explosive, it was subtle. It mixed emotion with direction. It said, "I care about you, but also, don't talk about this publicly." And in a reality TV environment where transparency is currency, that combination can feel like pressure. From that moment forward, trust between them didn't just weaken, it fractured. For Kyle, the real betrayal wasn't the disagreement, it was Dorit exposing the message. She later made it clear that having a private text read out publicly was something she had never experienced before, and it completely changed how she saw Dorit. To her, it proved that Dorit was willing to say anything on camera, even at the expense of their friendship. For Dorit, however, the issue wasn't exposure, it was control. She felt that Kyle was trying to manage the narrative and limit what she could say, especially at a moment when honesty was expected. In her mind, speaking about it openly wasn't betrayal, it was fairness. And that's the core of the entire feud: two completely different interpretations of the same moment. As the tension grew, their differences became more obvious. Kyle seemed to expect loyalty in the form of unity, defending each other publicly and keeping issues private. Dorit, on the other hand, leaned toward openness, speaking her truth even if it caused discomfort. Neither approach is necessarily wrong, but together, they created constant friction. Things became even more complicated when their personal lives began to unravel at the same time. Both women were dealing with major changes in their relationships, which heightened their emotional sensitivity. In that kind of environment, even small misunderstandings can feel like major betrayals. What might have once been resolved with a conversation now turned into lasting resentment. The situation escalated further when boundaries began to blur, particularly with Kyle maintaining communication with Dorit's estranged husband during their separation. While Kyle may have seen it as harmless, Dorit viewed it as intrusive. It reinforced her feeling that Kyle was not fully on her side, adding another layer of mistrust to an already fragile relationship. All of this tension eventually surfaced during group settings, where unresolved issues spilled into public confrontations. What viewers saw on screen, arguments, accusations, emotional breakdowns, was not the beginning of the conflict, but the result of everything that had been building beneath the surface. And even now, the feud continues to resurface. Not because of new issues, but because the original ones were never fully resolved. The trust that was broken by that one moment, the text message, was never truly rebuilt. In the end, the real reason behind the fallout between Kyle Richards and Dorit Kemsley isn't just about what was said or done. It's about how each of them experienced it. Kyle saw a private, emotional message being exposed. Dorit saw an attempt to control her voice. And once those interpretations set in, the friendship couldn't function the same way again. So when you watch their conflict today, what you're really seeing isn't just drama. It's the aftermath of a friendship that broke quietly, long before anyone realized it was over.